But the word Momiji-gari consists of momiji and gari. Why do we have to hunt autumn leaves to enjoy them? 皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Let's Ask Shogo. When it comes to enjoying nature in Japan, there's nothing better than Hanami, viewing cherry blossoms during spring, or Momiji-gari, viewing the autumn leaves during fall. I used to work in the tourism industry in Kyoto for 4 years, and I remember that these two seasons were the most popular among tourists. But since when and why do we view cherry blossoms and autumn leaves in Japan? Did they start for the same purpose? So today, I'll explain about the history of both Hanami and Momiji-gari and explain the three main differences between the two. Among the three differences I explain, I will be talking about when and how to fully enjoy them too. So I hope you can enjoy this video till the end. Also, if you have any plans on coming to Japan for Hanami or Momiji-gari, please let me know when and where you're hoping to come. In this channel, you can take a closer look at Japanese traditional culture, tips on traveling to Kyoto, and social problems in Japan. So learners and lovers of Japanese language and culture, be sure to subscribe to enjoy more content. それでは本日ももみじ狩りへ参りましょう。First of all, let me start by talking about the history of Hanami by breaking it down into 3 points. 1. Hanami changed from plum blossoms to cherry blossoms. 2. The custom of Hanami spread to the samurai class. 3. The Tokugawa shogunate spread Hanami to the common people. 1. Hanami changed from plum blossoms to cherry blossoms. Today, when we imagine of Hanami, we usually immediately think of cherry blossoms. However, when the culture of Hanami was imported from China during the Nara period as an event for the aristocrats, the flowers were originally plum blossoms instead of cherry blossoms. During the Heian period, trading with China was banned in 893, and from there, Japan's unique culture started to develop. This led to the cherry blossoms that originally existed in Japan from ancient times being cherished more. Hanami became a regular event for the aristocrats of the imperial court, and cherry blossoms even became a necessity for gardening. By the way, the peasants also worshipped the cherry blossoms from ancient times, but for a different reason from the aristocrats. The timing the peasants started rice planting each year was actually the same as when the cherry blossoms bloomed. So the people long believed that there was a god of good harvest that made the cherry blossoms bloom at its fullest. Unlike the aristocrats, the peasants also did Hanami not just to enjoy their beauty, but to make offerings to it. And it was an important annual event to wish for a productive year. 2. The custom of Hanami spread to the samurai class. From the Kamakura and Muromachi periods, when the samurai took over power from the imperial court, the culture of Hanami started to spread among the warriors too. However, there was one man who is believed to be the founder of the Hanami parties we enjoy today, the famous Toyotomi Hideyoshi. He is the samurai warlord who ruled Japan entirely for the first time in Japanese history, and is also known to have loved flashy and fancy things. He was the one who built the Golden Tea House, so I think you can understand he was a bit eccentric. Hideyoshi held 2 huge Hanami festivals in Kyoto. The Yoshino no Hanami with 1,000 cherry blossom trees and 5,000 participants, and the Daigo no Hanami with 700 cherry blossoms and 1,300 participants. Even the famous warlords such as Tokugawa Ieyasu and Date Masamune took part in these festivals. 3. The Tokugawa shogunate spread Hanami to the common people. Coming into the Edo period, the Tokugawa shogunate, the samurai administration, encouraged the planting of cherry trees along the rivers and on mountains so that anyone can enjoy Hanami beautiful cherry blossom viewing points sprang up one after another, and the culture of Hanami spread among the commoners. By the way, cherry trees are often planted along rivers even today, but the original reason was for flood control measures. Even at the times when the people were troubled by the damage caused by the rising water due to long rains, it was expensive to build a dike. So they came up with an idea of planting cherry trees in order for viewers to walk along the rivers and harden the ground, which lowered the risk of water overflows. As more cherry blossom trees were planted in one place, Hanami became an event where people spread out their lunch boxes under the cherry blossoms, drank alcohol, and enjoyed themselves, just like today. Next, let's take a look at the history of Momiji-gari by also breaking it down into 3 points. 1. The culture of Momiji-gari started about 1,200 years ago. 2. Large-scale Momiji-gari festivals were not held. 3. Momiji-gari became popular among the commoners. 1. The culture of Momiji-gari started about 1,200 years ago. The oldest collection of Japanese poems, Manyoshu, which was written in the Nara period, contains poems about aristocrats enjoying autumn leaves viewing. So it is believed that the earliest Momiji-gari events were held 1,200 years ago. However, Momiji-gari wasn't such a major event compared to Hanami. But why? Aren't autumn leaves as beautiful as the cherry blossoms? It was because, unlike the cherry blossom trees that were growing in the gardens of houses, in order to enjoy autumn leaves, you had to go into the mountains. Also, when the leaves change their color, the season is obviously autumn, when it's getting colder, plants and flowers wither, and animals and insects are gone. So, as we can understand from the poems written about Momiji-gari, viewing autumn leaves was more about feeling the sadness and the fleeting nature of life. 2. Large-scale Momiji-gari festivals were not held. The Momiji-gari culture also started to become more common during the Muromachi period. However, no large-scale festivals were held for Momiji-gari like the 2 Hanami festivals we talked about earlier. Was Hideyoshi not interested in autumn leaves? No. The flashy and fancy-loving Hideyoshi of course had a plan to hold the biggest Momiji-gari festival in history. Unfortunately, he passed away in August on the year he had the plan, so it was never realized. For Hideyoshi too, it seems like the autumn leaves have truly become a symbol of fragility of life. 3. Momiji-gari became popular among the commoners. It is said that it was finally around the middle of the Edo period that Momiji-gari became popular among the general public as it is like today. You can understand how much the 250 years of peace during the Edo period helped the development of many traditional cultures we have. Traveling with guidebooks were very popular in those days, thanks to the development of printing technology, as the guidebooks contained information about the best places to view the autumn leaves. The popularity of Momiji-gari spread rapidly among the commoners. During the Edo period, Momiji-gari was similar to Hanami, with people sitting under the trees eating foods like the dango dumplings while sipping on some tea. However, rather than drinking and partying, it was again more about quietly feeling sadness and the transience of life because of the negative image of the harsh winter coming soon. Now that you've understood the history of both Hanami and Momiji-gari, let's finally take a look at the 3 main differences between them. 1. Different times of year for viewing. 2. Different expressions, view and hunt. 3. Different ways to enjoy. 1. Different times of year for viewing. Obviously, you enjoy Hanami and Momiji-gari at different times of the year. But when are the best times to view them then? cherry blossoms in Japan start to bloom first in the southern regions where the climate is warmer. They bloom in late March in most regions and reach full bloom about a week later. Here in Kyoto, the best time to see cherry blossoms is during the 20 days from late March to mid-April. Contrary to Hanami, the autumn leaves start to change their colors from the northern regions where the temperatures are colder. The best time to view them is from November in most regions. Here in Kyoto, the best time to see autumn leaves is usually around mid-November to early December. However, the specific dates for the best time to view both the cherry blossoms and autumn leaves will obviously change every year due to the weather. So we check the news for the forecast of cherry blossom blooming and autumn leaves changing, so you can enjoy them at their peak or adjust your schedule to avoid the crowd. We also recommend you make your plans based on photos posted on Instagram and the blog articles written by shrines and temples. 2. Different expressions, view and hunt. The word hanami consists of the two kanji characters, hana and mi, so it literally means viewing flowers. But the word momiji-gari consists of momiji and gari. Why do we have to hunt autumn leaves to enjoy them? These are the two main theories why we call autumn leaves viewing momiji-gari. 1. Because the autumn leaves were in the mountains and branches' leaves were often broken off and brought back home to enjoy. 2. The main purpose of entering the mountains was to hunt deer and boar, so they called viewing leaves hunting too. However, today it is against the rules to break branches, so please be careful. 3. Different ways to enjoy. The biggest difference between the two is that the most common way to enjoy hanami is to lay out a picnic blanket under a tree or along a river bank and enjoy drinks and food. While this is not common practice in momiji-gari, where you usually just walk through the trees. Since hanami is held in April, the beginning of school and work year in Japan, many universities and companies hold an annual hanami as a welcome party for the new students and workers. On the other hand, momiji-gari is more of just looking and enjoying, rather than enjoying drinks and food under the trees like hanami. We actually made a video a while ago explaining exactly how you hold hanami parties, and another one of us going momiji-gari in Kyoto, so you can take a look at that for a clearer image. The reason for this seems to come from the following 3 factors. 1. Momiji-gari has a negative image of winter coming, so it is more about feeling loneliness rather than drinking and partying. 2. Hanami in spring is often held as a party to deepen friendship since it is the beginning of the year. 3. Momiji-gari is held in the latter half of November and the first half of December, so it is too cold to stay in one place to enjoy it. Do you have any unique ways to enjoy nature in your country? If yes, please let me know in the comments. Then lastly, today's conclusion. Hanami was a regular event among the aristocrats of the imperial court from ancient times, and peasants too worshipped them for good harvest. Momiji-gari was also done by the aristocrats from about 1,200 years ago, but it wasn't such a major event because they had to go into the mountains to enjoy them. The samurai started to carry on this culture as they gained more power, and the famous Toyotomi Hideyoshi held 2 huge hanami festivals and created the style of enjoying the cherry blossoms we know of today. Hideyoshi was planning on holding a momiji-gari festival too, but he unfortunately passed away before it actually happened. From the Edo period, both hanami and momiji-gari became common among the general public due to the long term of peace and development of various technologies. The 3 main differences between hanami and momiji-gari are: 1. Different times of year for viewing. Cherry blossoms bloom in late March, and leaves change color from November in most regions. 2. Different expressions, view and hunt. Momiji-gari is called autumn leaves hunting from the culture of enjoying them in the mountains. 3. Different ways to enjoy. Hanami parties are about laying out a picnic blanket to eat and drink and have fun. But Momiji-gari is more about walking through the mountains with autumn leaves. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If this video helped you to want to come to Japan even more, please hit the like button to help me boost this video to more people. And my goal is to achieve 1 million subscribers by January 2023, so your help would mean a lot. And please check out our sub-channel and membership through the link inside the description box. Thanks again, and I'll see you in my next video. どうもありがとうございました。So I've been living in Japan for about 8 years now, I think. I came to Kyoto when I entered university, so I think it's been about 8 years now. But one of the best things about living in Kyoto is that the nature is just really, really beautiful. It's especially because Kyoto has a lot of famous temples and shrines and such, and the temples and shrines tend to have the beautiful autumn leaves or the cherry blossoms. So I think, it's really great in Kyoto that you could just, take a train for 5 or 10 minutes and you get to see a beautiful scenery of the seasons, of course, of the cherry blossoms, autumn leaves. So that is definitely one of the reasons why I love living in Kyoto.